Let's have a look, as you invited us to Leiden, a closer look. And Leiden is much indebted to the two master prototypes of knowledge economy. You see them at the back of the bottom of page 6 in our handout. The east and the western coast of the United States. And in the 1940s, the knowledge economy is that old already, in the 1940s, from two different regions in the United States, thinking started about earning your money with knowledge, not with goods production, with industry, or with traffic, or with agriculture, but with knowledge. And it started in the Boston region, Harvard, an old industrial city, an old industrial region, which was looking for innovation. And it started in the orchards, in the countryside of Northern California, to completely different. So we always think that knowledge economy needs an historical city. No, it's fine to have a historical city. We're looking to one, but you can also start a knowledge hub in the orchards of Northern California. It's not only the local circumstances. What happened in Leiden? Top of page 7. What happened in Leiden? Well, Leiden is very interesting because there are few cities who got a makeover so radical as Leiden. Leiden was called one of the 7 poor sisters in the 1970s, one of the 7 poor sisters, together with other derelict industrial cities. And if you mention the cities now, Almelo, Schiedam, nobody is placing Leiden in that series anymore. Just one generation, in the 1970s, Leiden was one of the poor 7 cities, industrial cities, old-fashioned industrial cities, and they were swept away by the competition from what we then called low-income countries, South Korea, Japan, imagine, low-income countries, but that's how we called them. They could produce much cheaper, and the industry in Leiden was old-fashioned and fell down against that competition. But how did we succeed in going from very bad to very strong, from very poor to very rich in just 1.5 generations? And that's interesting, really interesting, because it's the challenge for many cities in the world. We said goodbye to the old coal-based economy, to the old fossil fuel-based economy, industry. Take pictures, old historic pictures of a city. You see pipes. It was an industrial base. And we said goodbye to the industry. And many cities in Asia, in Latin America, in Africa are now going through that process. And what can they learn from Leiden? And the amazing thing is that it was going so fast in this city that we really don't know what happened. Right now, Dick, we are talking about a project, historic project, of building up knowledge about what happened between 1970 and 1990. And I know some people who say, we have, this city has a message for the world because Rembrandt was born here in 1606. So we have, from a golden age of Dutch history, we have a message for the city. Yes, they say, but we have a second message, as important, what happened between 1970 and 1990. And that's even more important because people can get some inspiration for themselves. That's what I try to answer. I told you I'm giving training to young Democrats in Bosnia and Georgia. They ask me, what should we do? And I'm coming from one of the main examples in Western Europe. A radical example, radical self-development. But what did we do exactly? And that's an interesting question. What did we do? So on top of page 7, just a few suggestions. What happened? Maybe the first thing, it was a matter of sheer luck. We are right now reading some books, doing some research about the origins of a science park. Well, it was, what's in English, oog van de naald? It was a needle's eye. It was a needle's eye. There was in the first part of the 1980s a fight going on between the university and the municipality of what was going to happen on that ground. Living quarters, housing, or making it a science park. What is a science park? Yeah, there were only a few, really handful of city officials and professors who had heard about what was happening in Harvard, what was happening in California, only very few. And they said that might be the future. So you need some individuals with some vision, with some general perspective. And it was pioneering, it was really pioneering. For me, it's encouraging to know that, because individuals can make a difference. Individuals can make a difference. History is not only large movements, not only demographic transitions. No, it's also the contribution of individuals. All of you can make an individual contribution. That happened at the beginning of the 80s in Leiden. Some people who had the idea that what was happening across the ocean might be interesting for Leiden or for the Netherlands. It was some needle's eye. They got some window of opportunity, because the political debate about that part of the city was badly organized. And badly organized politics might be a blessing sometimes. So nobody noticed that the whole spatial scheme of that part of the city was changed into a science park. If it was a public debate, a large public debate, probably it would never have happened. But now, because nobody watched, there was a possibility to change the destination of that part of the city into a science park. So you need some luck, and you need some pioneering spirit. And you need a university, the fourth bullet. You need a university claiming its role. Universities are important, as municipalities are. Universities should take their role, as educational institutions should take their role. Should say, we are taking care of this community. Maybe even civil society should take its role. Municipality, nice that you are there, we want to cooperate with you, but it's not your city, it's our city. Civil society, civil institutions, organized business life, education institutions, it's your city. And the University of Leiden, there was a very weak relation then between municipality and university, weak relation. But still the university took its role and put up demands for developing that part of the city. A very important decision made in those early years. And there was some national support. It's for us maybe not so relevant anymore, but let me explain to our foreign guests. Because Leiden was a very poor city, the industry was leaving the city, it was a very poor city, large social challenges. It was a derelict city, a lot of ruins, a lot of slums. The city could financially not cope would not maintain itself. So we needed additional budget, we needed some support. And in the Dutch law, we have a so-called Article 12. The 12th article of the law for municipalities. And that Article 12, that states that you can get extra money from the government if you are in financial need. But you deliver something. You are not free, you deliver authority. You hand in some autonomy if you want to get extra money. So most municipalities who need to use Article 12 status want to get rid of it in 2 or 3 years. Just a short intervention and then be independent again. Because politicians also always want to be independent. They want to take on the decisions. Well, Leiden did not take Article 12 status for 2 or 3 years. We took it for 24 years. 24 years, which is a national record. 1969, 1993. So whole generations of politicians were used to the national government running part of this city. And I think that time was spent well. That without the national support, this city would not have come that far. The support was also used for rebuilding the city and for rebuilding the industrial district. We saw some photos of it at the start of the masterclass. All that improvements were made possible with national support. So doing it on your own is difficult. You're not an island. You need some support from your surroundings. And the last factor, shortly after start of the science park, private investments started to go. People living longer in this city know the Schuttersveld, which was a prairie of just marshy land, not far from the city center. And now it's an office district. So already in the dark early 80s, some private business investors decided to have confidence in the future of the city. And we tried to get some of those early business investors to get them on our table and talk to them. Why did you have confidence? In the early 1980s, Leiden was still a poor city. You could not see the future of a well-to-do scientific hub. You could not see that then already. So why did you have confidence to put your millions in this city? You could have gone to Zoetermeer, which was thriving then. You could have gone to Amstelveen, which was thriving then. You could go to, not to Amsterdam, not to Wijk, no, you could go to Alphen aan den Rijn, to all the new towns which were flourishing in those years. The relation has been turned around now. We tried to discuss to those investors, but it was a pity we were too late. We were too late. They died away already. So a few dozens of people, very important for the city. Why did they invest in this city? And we are too late to ask them. And that's the mechanism. So you need trust, you need public trust. You need an investor who says, I have confidence in this part of the country. I'm putting my millions here. I'm building here an office or a factory or whatever. And on some miraculous way, early in the 1980s, private enterprise saw that this city would have chances to boom again. So we have a lot of research to do on what happened, what really happened. Why are we now an outstanding knowledge hub? We are it. We have that status. But how did we do it? So I hope to see in a few years' time the first books I can use during my trainings in Bosnia and Georgia. So hurry up with your research.